7:05 p.m. We apologize for the slight delay. We had a little technical glitch there. Before we get started tonight, I did just want to let everyone know and to state for the record that the board reorganized on May 15th, 2025, at which time it was decided that I would start chairing the meetings starting today through next May when we reorganize again following town meeting. And Jenny also suggested that I remind folks of some of the rules of the road for our meetings. The first of which is please stay muted until the board invites you to speak. To participate, please make sure you use the raise hand feature in the Zoom toolbar under reactions. Please do not raise your physical hand because we may not notice. Please keep your comments on topic. Off-topic comments should be saved for the public comment agenda item. Disruptive behavior may result in removal from the meeting. And finally, if the meeting ends unexpectedly, it may be due to technical reasons or to Zoom bombing, please visit the town's website for instructions on how to rejoin. So our first agenda item this evening is a tax classification hearing. So I will take a motion to open the public hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 56, regarding property tax classification pursuant to use for fiscal year 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call. Sorry. Roll call, Brian.
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I am also a yes. So this is the Select Board's annual hearing to set the percentage of Bolton's annual tax levy to be borne by each major property class. And I believe that we have the chair of the Board of Assessors, Jeffrey Nichols, is here. There you are. Welcome. Can you please introduce yourself and the members of your committee?
Thank you for having us. There should be hopefully 3 or 4 of us. Rob Heckman is RRG representative. Marcy Nomi, I don't know if she's there, and Charlotte Johnson is the other select board. And we're here, obviously, as you indicated, talk about classification of which is normally known as 1, as opposed to 2. 1 being a single rate, 2 being a dual rate.
Okay, great. And do you want to walk us through your recommendations, or how do you want to present that?
Well, first of all, does everybody have the packet? I hope we have sent out. I'm going to go through that very quickly, but if you don't have it, it won't make a lot of a sense. But actually what I'll do is I'll turn it over to Robbie, and he can walk you through it much better than I can. Robbie?
Okay, great.
Rob, would you like to share screen, or would you like me to share the document?
Well, hi everyone. I think the document probably, just so we can see what's going on, so I'm not just rattling off numbers.
Do you want me to share it? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right, can everyone hear me well?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, so yeah, it's that time of year again, tax classification hearing. I like to put these packets together every year just to make everything a little more digestible to understand and see why we're recommending the shift factor that we have of a single rate as opposed to a split rate. So I'll just kind of go through the packet and highlight some of the more major points and at the end, if anyone has any questions, then feel free to ask. So on the second page, we have the introduction. So each year, prior to the mailing of the third quarter tax billings, the select board holds a public hearing to determine the percentage of the town's property tax levy to be borne by each major property class. This responsibility and procedure are described in Chapter 40, Section 56, the Massachusetts General Laws. The steps in completing the classification hearing I have outlined below. Also provided is information about the levy, property assessments, and recommendations made by our Board of Assessors, which I'll get into as we continue through the packet. As far as steps in setting the tax rates, there's a list of all of these steps. Today we're on steps 6 through 8, which is the classification hearing presentation, which is what we're doing currently, review and discuss the tax shift options, and ultimately at the end of this portion, voting on a tax shift factor, hopefully if decided. On to the next page, we have terminology. So the tax levy, or the levy, is the amount of property taxes that are to be raised, and the levy amount is determined by the budget. The total amount of the approved budget, less revenues from other sources like motor vehicle excise tax, municipal fees, and state aid, is the amount to be raised from the property taxation. So in Bolton this year, the proposed levy to be raised is estimated to be $31,749,802.27, which is an increase of $4,183,370.34, or 15%, over the last fiscal year's levy of $27,566,431.93. This increase is more substantial historically than years prior due to the inclusion of the override that we currently have. The levy ceiling is 2.5% of the full value of the town, based on Bolton's town valuation of $1,757,044,951. The town cannot levy taxes more than $43,926,124. New growth revenue this year we're pretty substantial growth revenue this year of $284,677. This number was approved by the Department of Revenue as well last week. A lot of this is due to some of the larger projects that are going on in town, subdivisions, new single-family residences, etc. The levy limit is the maximum allowable levy for this fiscal year is $31,752,594. And the excess levy capacity is the difference between the levy and the levy limit. Right now, that number is $2,791.73, which means that we're pretty much at tax to the max, just shy of that. So this next page I like to include, it's just the LA4 document, which basically gives what the property types are, the parcel counts for each one that we have in town, how they're the classification that they reside in, and ultimately the real and personal property total value and the exempt parcel count and value as well. And below that, from that information, I gather the valuations by class before the tax shift. And currently, Bolton is currently at 95.33% residential. Commercial, industrial, and personal property is sitting around 4.67. That's pretty substantial. And with that being said, too, I like to reiterate that chapter land, with Bolton being a right to farm community, chapter land is included as a commercial type of property. It's not included as in residential. So in smaller communities like this, anytime that you were to elect a split rate, the commercial properties and a lot of the farms are some of the hardest hit because of how they're classified. So shifting the tax burden, I like to put this together to just kind of show what would be required in a tax rate shift for the average single-family residents to pay the same amount in taxes as they did the year prior. Considering the override this year too, it was virtually off the charts. It was over 50% shift factor. And it would, so this fiscal year, considering the override, the shift would be so substantial it would take nearly double the allowed CIP shift to make the average single-family resident tax bill equivalent to the year prior. For tax rates, previous year we had 1662. We're estimated right now at 1807. Of course, whether the rate is higher or lower, it's more of an ebb and flow on the valuation. A higher rate doesn't necessarily mean, a crazy increase in value, as a drop in it wouldn't, say otherwise. So that's kind of the balance there. As far as tax impacts for fiscal 26, the average single family valuation right now in Bolton is $865,000, which the average taxes for a single family residence being around $15,642. Previous year was 820,000 with 13,600 as the average. So you're seeing about a 45,000% or 5% value increase due to the sale market, and tax increase of about 2,000 or 14%, which again is more substantial historically than years prior due to the override currently. And yeah, with all that information, on behalf of the Board of Assessors recommends that Select Board adopts a residential shift factor of 1 with a corresponding commercial, industrial, and personal property shift factor of 1, thereby maintaining the relative shares, the overall tax burden borne by the residential property owners in past years. So,
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
you're welcome.
Does anybody else from the assessors have anything else to add?
If I may very quickly just say, two things this year stand out rather starkly that you might want to think about going forward. One is the override, and 2 is the commercial industrial percentage in the town. I think both of those stand out quite dramatically, and hence we have what we're doing to the normal tax rate, to the normal taxpayer in town. So 2 things to think about going forward.
Okay.
Hi, this is Charlotte. In order to have a split rate, we would have to be having approximately 37% of the properties in town as either commercial or industrial. And we are currently at 5%. So for the 22nd year, I was a brunette. That's the 22nd year. I urge you to adopt the single rate.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have questions?
No, I thank you for the packet that you sent in advance. I was sort of anticipating that this would be yet another request for a single non-shifted rate. So this makes sense to me.
I do not have any questions at this time.
Okay. Jenny, is this where I close the hearing?
Well,
No.
excuse me, before you do that, on the last page, there's wordage that you people have to go through, if you don't mind, very quickly before
Right.
we wrap up.
Has to be read
Yeah.
and agreed to.
Okay, so Jenny, do I close the hearing first and then do the vote
You do, but you'd also want to take public comment.
before we close the hearing? Yes?
Yep.
Okay, is there any comment from the public? I'm not seeing any. Okay, so at this point, I would take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. And then I will take a motion for the Bolton Select Board to vote in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 56 as amended, the percentage of local tax levy which will be borne by each class of real and personal property relative to setting the fiscal year 2026 tax rates, and set the residential factor at 1 with a corresponding CIP shift of 1, pending certification of the town's annual tax recap by the Massachusetts Department of Revenue.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Thank you all for coming yet again and providing us with all of this information in a really easily readable and digestible form. So it's much appreciated.
Will do.
Thank
Okay.
you, Rob.
So the next item on our agenda also actually relates to the assessors. It is an update from the Assessors Department and the Board of Assessors. Jeff, I don't know if you want to do an introduction here.
Well, we were presented with, thank you, by the way, we were presented with 6 questions, I believe, that we answered, and I believe hopefully you have that 2 pages as well in front of you. I'm not sure if you do or don't.
We do.
If you don't, I can go through it with you, but if you have it, it'll hopefully expedite the whole thing. So on the 6 questions,
Well, let me just stop you maybe a little bit first. And could you just give anybody who's listening just a thumbnail sketch of what the assessors do and how the department kind of functions, just for anybody who's not familiar?
okay, it's fair enough. We presented a list, and I don't want to go through the whole thing, but there's a list of what we do. It's not a long list, but it's a list that anyway, I'll read a few highlights of it. We establish in personal property and real estate tax abatements. We do senior real estate tax exemptions, veteran exemptions, blind real estate tax exemptions, chapter lands, ABC exemptions, tax deferrals, vehicle motor excise tax, property parcel information, butters list, name, address, and changes, registry of deeds information and property, map data's update, and sales questionnaire. So basically, that's what we do. We are governed, I guess the best way to say this, we are governed by the DOR, the Department of Revenue. Everything we do is in accordance with what their wishes are. And basically, this is the list we have to conform with doing DOR procedures. We hire 4 outside contractors in order to get this done. RRG, where Robbie was just with us, is one of them. But we basically contract out our work and we make sure the work gets done. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what we do.
Great, thank you. And can you just discuss kind of how the staffing works for the assessing department?
We have an assistant assessor. Her name is Kelly, and she's in the office most days. And she answers all the questions that the public may have. And she also takes care of about 75% of what you see on the list. And then there's the board of assessors, the 3 of us that oversee her and the 4 companies that we hire.
Okay, great, thank you.
Our principal assessor, Rob, who you met earlier, Sorry about the frog. RRG has been, is under contract by the town of Bolton to represent us as the principal assessor. And under him is the assistant assessor, as Jeff said. And the assistant assessor is the one who provides all of the documentation, everything that is required to be submitted to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Revenue, including the classification, the LA5, the LA4, which are forms we have to put together and submit for clearance to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. That list that Jeff gave you is everything we are required to do. It's not a creative position, let me put it that way. And it's important to note, I have been a member of the Board of Assessors for coming up on 22 years. Jeff has been on the Board of Assessors coming up on 30 years. And we have a new member to replace somebody that had to resign as our third. We do not receive compensation for this position. We do this basically as a responsibility to give back to the town that we love and support. And I think that pretty much covers it.
Well, we appreciate your incredible dedication and your longstanding service. So thank you all very much for that.
One thing I'd like to just let the board know, the select board know, there will be signatures required once we submit this and get it back to you. But down shortly, I don't know if we can do this before Thanksgiving. After Thanksgiving is fine, as long as we get it in early December. Your signatures will be required at that time.
That's going to be online. And I think, is Jenny still with us?
I am here.
Jenny, in order to have the select board send their signatures online, because that's how it's done now.
It's been done that way for the last few years. Kelly and I have worked through it.
Thank God. Because we used to have to march the form up to the meeting at the town hall. So I think you have an understanding of how these members can sign in for those signatures. And that's the only thing I wanted to add.
Thank you. And I just wanted to, I know that there's some discussion about new software that you folks are looking at. Could you give us an update in terms of what you're looking at for software and what that will look like, whether there will be anything noticeable for the taxpayers and the residents, or whether that's just sort of internal for you guys?
Jeff, I'm happy to field this, Jeff.
Okay, sure. Presently, we have hired a company named Tyler. We've had them for about 6 to 8 years. I don't know exactly how many, but it's been about 6 or 8. There's been some deficiencies in their programming that seems to annoy some of us and others in the town hall. So we've been looking at options. There was a company in Connecticut we've paid serious attention to, but they can't meet the demands of the DOR of the state of Massachusetts, it turns out. So they're not, seems to be the option. The next one, which we are now looking at, no decisions have been made at all, It's a bit preliminary, but we are looking at going back to Vision, which is a company that's been around many years. The reason why we haven't used them originally when we decided not to go with them was price factor, to be honest with you. But we're looking at them seriously again just to see if they are an option as opposed to the company Tyler, which we have today. And that does affect about 3 or 4 of the departments in town.
We are restricted, just so everybody understands, the platform that we use to record all of the town data, and in compliance and mapping and all the other things that we're required to do by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts only allows platforms that they have approved. And Tyler the data was insufficient. We had problems with accuracy. We had problems with timely entering of data. And this has created a problem with the Commonwealth. So there are only a few platforms that are approved by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And the best of the remaining acceptable platforms is known as Vision. And currently, RRG, our principal assessor, is in discussions with Vision to try and get the most that we can get for the least amount that we have to pay. Because we look like we're loaded with money, but we are not. And RRG is negotiating with Vision because RRG also covers a number of towns in the Commonwealth in Worcester County. And they're trying to get put together a package that will financially benefit the town of Bolton. We don't have any figures yet, but as we gain further information or the result of those negotiations, we're happy to get back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Does anybody on the board have any other questions?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for the update, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more about the software platform at some point in time. And thank you again for your hard work for the town. It's appreciated.
We appreciate you as well.
Have a great night.
Have
You
a good evening. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, our next agenda item is another public hearing. I will take a motion to continue the poll hearing on the petition of National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc. to install 11 jointly owned poles at a point approximately 400 feet southwest of the center line of the intersection of Meadow Road and continuing approximately 3,200 feet in a southwest direction.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call, Brian,
yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. So this is a continued public hearing, which was originally started on October 16th. We had continued it because there were some concerns from the DPW and our tree warden. And then there was a further request by the petitioner on November 6th to continue. So we are back now. do we have anybody here from National Grid?
Yeah,
Can you please introduce yourself?
my name is Robert Williams. I work with National Grid.
Okay, and can you let us know where we are at this point on the petition? There had been some issues raised with regard, I think, to poles that had not been staked and some errors in the petition and hearing notice.
As I understand, the poles have been staked by the designer who created the work request and designed the job, and the maps have also been updated and provided.
Okay, and I see our tree warden is here, Mark Case. Hi, Mark.
Hi there.
Can you comment on the status and where we are from your
So,
perspective?
yep, so all the pole locations were staked. They all seem to be okay. And I mean, it's in an existing pole line, so there's not a lot of radical pole placements. I do remember at one of the last meetings, we had a resident at 295 that was concerned about line site going back towards the center of town. That pole location seems to be pretty far from their driveway at this point. I think that the pole location did get modified. I just don't know if they're happy with the location or not. But it doesn't seem, I stood in their driveway and it doesn't seem like that would be a problem.
Okay, so from your perspective, all of the outstanding issues have been addressed?
Yes, I would just like to see if that homeowner is on and if they're
Yeah.
okay with it.
Yeah, and I see that he is. Mr. McGilvray,
Yes,
did you want to comment?
I did, please. So I saw the stakes. So my question is, it's a 50-mile-an-hour zone as I pull out of my driveway. So I just need a good line of sight. To the existing pole to my left is set back off the road about 9 or 10 feet. And the existing pole to the right of my driveway west is about the same. But where that stake is, it's about 5 feet off of the road. So as I'm at the bottom of my driveway looking to the west, I just think it would interfere with line of sight. And I'm wondering if it could be in line with the other two, like 9 or 10 feet, rather than what I measured to be 5 feet.
Those stakes are like approximate locations. When they're running the pole line, especially with the cable that they're going to be running, it's going to be in line with the rest of the poles.
Okay, that's great. If it's in line with the other two existing poles, I'm happy with it.
Yes, it should be. It's as it was designed.
Great. That was my only concern.
Great. So do any board members have any questions?
No, I think we covered the outstanding issues, at least that I recall.
Okay, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second that?
Okay, roll call. Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Go ahead, Bill.
You take it, Brian.
All right. I make a motion to approve the petition of National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc. to install 11 jointly owned poles at a point approximately 400 feet southwest of the center line of the intersection of Meadow Road and continuing approximately 3,200 feet in a southwest direction with the new midspan poles as identified in the petition.
Second that?
Roll call. Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Thank you, everybody, for helping us to close that one out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Take care.
Thanks.
All righty, we're almost on time. And this is one of our feel-good agenda items with Bolton Access Television and Nikki McGatchy.
Hello, how are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Good. Here to request our quarterly funds. This is Q3 of 2025.
Okay, do you want to give us an update on how things are going for Bolton Access?
Sure. We're into our busy time of the year. We've got a lot of concerts going on. So we recently did the sort of Halloween concert with the Concord Band, and then we're going to be doing their holiday pop show in 2 weeks as well. The recap from the Bolton Halloween parade's up on the YouTube channel. So if you get a chance, you can check that out. And you can see the select board live and in person at the Halloween parade, and also all the kids in their very cute costumes. Not that that
Awesome.
outshadowed you guys, though.
All right. Um, that sounds great. So does the board have any questions?
to attend? Because it was a very show up if you can. Would you like their participation in that agenda item at a meeting?
I think that would be nice. I mean, the people did work awfully hard and, there were divergent opinions, so I think it would be good to let people have the chance to express those.
Okay. Can do.
Okay,
Continuing, I don't know if Mr. Nyland is here. He appears not yet.
do not see him,
All right.
so carry on.
All right. Town administrator report. Wanted to say that that project, as folks driving by have noticed, is on schedule. They're currently awaiting the DEP approval and sign off, but they're proceeding apace. Staff from the town have been visiting, notably the conservation agent, the planning director, as well as the DPW director, and compiling feedback and a compilation of items that are still outstanding. And for residents who are concerned, the staff will be parking again at the lacrosse field next week. They will be doing paving on their site, so they want to get all of their workers' vehicles off. They are going to be responsible for complete remediation of the lacrosse field. The recreation coordinator walked the field with the Alta representatives this afternoon and pointed out things that need to be remedied prior to the lacrosse season. I've attached the 3-week look ahead for the roundabout, as well as included in a packet a request from the DPW director for replacement of a street light on an existing pole to pole number 59 to address the visibility needs on 117. Folks who have traversed the roundabout have correctly highlighted that, it's not entirely clear. The pavement markings aren't visible and the signage is in fact potentially confusing. Over the next 2 weeks, though, the markings will be installed and the signage, the permanent signage will be installed on the splitter islands. Would the board be willing to consider the placement of a street light on an existing National Grid / Verizon pole tonight, or do you wish to wait until the next meeting? Yeah.
My thought on it is that if it's on the agenda, if it's sufficiently on the agenda, I would like to address it as a safety issue quickly rather than waiting.
I looked for a street light pole process. There isn't one yet, but what we could do is I could give National Grid a heads up that this is under consideration, as well as then have this as a discrete item on the agenda for the DPW's director's request. The lighting, around the roundabout is sufficient at present. I think some of our more comparable roundabouts are also in communities that have more prominent multiple streetlights.
Okay, great.
Forbush Mill will be opening
Sorry, can I just ask one more question about the roundabout?
Mhm.
I'd gotten an email and then also saw a couple questions online about the pole that's in the circle itself.
That will be there.
Pardon me?
That will remain.
Okay.
And that is not the streetlight pole. Yes. Yeah. Forbush Mill Road will be reopening next week. So yay. On terms of the public water supply, as we continue being under a boil water order, the DPW director will be getting quotes for that temporary disinfection system. Those are expected, I want to say, by the 25th. attain compliance by December of 2026. In an earlier version that the board has seen, they may have noticed that there had been something that had come off. Over the weekend, actually last Friday, the computer, the Jace, it's a Java, now it's something else, Java, blah, blah, blah. But in fact, it's a computer board. It runs the library's building automation, and it failed. Luckily, last weekend was lovely and warm weather, with the exception of Sunday night. In Monday morning, when the library was closed, thankfully, one of the DPW employees managing facilities noted that it was 34 degrees. So that, given the piping in the library and how we are well aware that the Jace is no longer supported, that request has been met and contracted out of undue concern that this not occur again. When I was looking at the capital plan, looking at a lot of building requests, some of them are, straightforward conversion of the cesspool for the DPW garage to a tight tank. But for the aggregate requests, it seems for two of Bolton's most historic facilities, the Houghton Building and the Town Hall, from my perspective, it appears we're at an inflection point. The Houghton Building is lovely, as we met there last week. This year's request for $100,000 is painting as well as the replacement of the rotted rear siding. It is a wondrous building. It is used by as a ancillary meeting space when boards and committees are meeting in person. What it also has suffered from, though, and I'd noticed in looking through what had been funded through the ARPA monies, is piecemeal funding because we have so many competing needs. And it's a question as to whether the town is interested in committing to the Houghton Building or, in an inadvertent way, perhaps engaging in demolition by neglect, which I don't believe anyone wants. So I raised that. The other component is the DPW director has pointed out the town hall entrance, the rear entrance, which is the main entrance behind me, needs work. The concrete is cracking, the wall is maybe not looking great. This is a big understatement. The entrance design cost is $55,000. If we end up doing the design, if we end up then taking that design and bidding it, anything over 30% of the full and fair cash value of the building, which per the assessors this week is $381,000, would trigger full building accessibility compliance. So to me, this raises a broader question that I just wanted to put out there for the board, which is how do you/we wish to steward these buildings for the next 5 to 10 years? We can continue incremental investment, even though we're in the face of competing needs, or, is there interest in creating a more comprehensive long-term plan? And I do have a piece of good news, which is that the municipal electrical supply, effective December 1, will be dropping from 14 cents to 11. This is, again, exclusively for the locked supply. So I don't want to leave it on a down note, but I do seek the board's input with regards to both Houghton as well as the town hall.
Well, I think we definitely need to have an awfully lot of conversation about that because the needs of those buildings are great and are not likely to get smaller. But I think that's going to be a pretty big conversation.
I haven't had a chance to watch the most recent advisory committee meeting, Marie, but did you also tee this issue up with them?
Yes. Oh, yes. And so Bill is being very gracious at appearing that this is all the first time that he's heard me go through this spiel, but yes.
And Marie, and this may be part of a longer conversation, but if becoming fully ADA compliant for town hall, what would that entail? Do you have a rough estimate of additional costs to be
Um,
compliant?
my cost data is old. I do know that putting in Lula, limited use, limited access, sort of a lift, an exterior lift, an enclosed space, was approximately $500,000 as of 2012. But also with ADA compliance, you'd be required then to have an ADA accessible water fountain, or with the right reach amount. All of the doorways would need to fit the ADA accessibility threshold. I have run some vague numbers, but I don't have anything to substantiate. In my prior experience of just trying to get a DPW prefab metal building, that ended up being a $10 million project, and the town said no. And that was just installation of a prefab on a poured concrete slab.
And just the design, taking on the design work for the entrance would trigger that.
The
30
design work, no, the design work wouldn't trigger it. The design is 55K. But the thing is, then we would be doing the design work with the idea of having, specs to put it out to bid.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
not to minimize it, but why? Yeah,
yeah, I think we need to have,
perceived caution. Yeah.
yeah, I think we need a separate agenda item in the future to discuss this a lot more and what sort of options we have and what sort of directions we might want to go in. But thank you for the good news on the electric rates. Okay, are you all set, Marie?
Yep.
Okay. I know that Eric is here from Economic Development Committee, but I do want to just take time quickly for our agenda item for public comment. If anyone here has a public comment, now is the time. Please go ahead and raise your hand and take yourself off mute. Okay, I don't see any comments, so we are going to go back to the Economic Development Committee agenda item, which was to increase their membership from 7 to 8 members. Eric, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm in the car. I'm driving through a dead zone area, so hopefully I stay solid.
Okay, well, just to give a little bit of background, the Economic Development Committee is a committee that was created by the Select Board, and it has a mission to attract, retain, and grow businesses and jobs in Bolton and to improve the economic environment and quality of life for its residents and to meet the long-term needs of the community. By way of background, the committee was formed in 2010, at which time it had 11 members on the committee. That number was reduced to 9 members in January of 2013. In 2017, the number was increased from 9 to 11. And then in 2020, the select board voted to reduce the EDC membership from 9 members down to 7 due to an inability to make quorum. So I think there's just sort of been this long-standing tension between the figuring out what the right number of members is for the EDC. And Eric, just before you kind of make your pitch, I also want to just point out that the EDC has continued to struggle with making quorum over the last couple of years, when with 7 members, a quorum would be 4 people. So I know that you have a very interested and enthusiastic applicant who would like to be on the Economic Development Committee, and that the EDC is interested in doing that. So why don't you just go ahead and let us know what else you'd like us to consider.
Yeah, hi, thanks. So, yeah, I mean, we've been seven for a bunch of years. And we've only had, I think, six for the last couple of years. And even a year before that, we were carrying a couple of people who wouldn't attend at all. So basically we had like four core members. And so if one of us couldn't attend, then we wouldn't make quorum. Right now we have six solid members. Recently, we got a new member at the last meeting or a meeting before that. So that was seven. But before that happened, we have a very interested member who had attended a couple of meetings and who the EDC was going to recommend. But I guess this other person on a first come, first serve basis joined. But anyway, so now this would be an eighth member and he's super interested. So we don't want to lose him. So that's why I wanted to go up to eight. Can you refresh me of going to eight if quorum is then five or if it's still four? I guess is one question.
My understanding
even if it's
is,
five, I think with the eight we have, I think we should. Go ahead.
yeah, my understanding is that quorum would be five. I think your applicant would be very likely to help you make that quorum in terms of his likely
Right.
attendance if we were to expand the committee. But it does mean you would have a quorum of five.
Yeah. But like I said, over the past few years, we really only had four dedicated people, but now, so right now it's me, Amy, the two Seans, Kristen. So that's a solid five. Craig's been attending all the time. That's six. I forget his name, the guy who just joined. He hasn't been at a meeting yet. The guy who came before. And then Alan, who I want to get approved, would be the eighth. So we have it's a pretty good crew of people. And really in the past few years, besides the four of us, we haven't had much interest. So I really don't want to lose this person who's very interested. So that's why I wanted to increase it to eight.
Yeah. Okay, does
and I know we've gone like, I know we started at like 11, but even then, like it was kind of like a wide-ranging board. Like I was back on it in 2012, and like, we barely had 7 or 8 that attended. So we've looked to now play. But I don't remember we had gone back up, but I know we went down to 7. I know we've been all over the place, just trying to meet the needs of the people we had, but that's
Yeah.
where we're at.
Okay, thanks. Brian, Bill, do you have questions, comments, thoughts?
Sure. So I think my only main concern around this was about quorum, because obviously if you increase the number from 7 to 8, then the quorum requirement goes from 4 to 5. But given what I know about Mr. Levin, I feel like there's actually no real impact on a quorum concern, because I feel like he would consistently make himself available. At least in my experience, he really does his best to make sure he shows up. And so to me, it's like if making quorum with 4 people has been a hardship, I don't think that hardship increases if you go to 5 because Alan will be there, is my sense. So I would support this.
And Eric, is your goal to meet on a monthly basis?
I'm sorry, my phone cut out on you. What did you say again? Sorry about that.
Is your goal to meet on a monthly basis?
Yeah, so definitely. I mean, and I told the Marie this. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Um, um, we, like, even if we haven't met quorum, we've met sub-quorum. So our core group of people is very dedicated. It's just when we couldn't meet quorum, we couldn't have like an official meeting and vote on things. But as you know from the EDC, we have a lot of ongoing projects. We're always working on the Destination Bolton Facebook page, and Amy produces videos for that. We're always visually talking to businesses and seeing what we can share on their site. We have like ongoing projects, the Welcome to Bolton sign that has the businesses on the front. So we're always working on that. And, right now we're starting to talk to business.
Well,
I think we lost him.
I think we very much lost him because he just dropped off entirely.
Yep.
So, well, let's give him a minute to come back on. But in the meantime, I will do some public service announcements until he comes back in. All right. First of all, we had a couple of anniversaries of note for some of our DPW employees. Leslie Case celebrated her 10-year anniversary at DPW on October 15th. And Nate Berry celebrated a very impressive 25 years at the DPW on October 10th. So congratulations to both of them, and thanks to them for their hard work and dedication to the town. It is appreciated. Let's see. I just wanted to highlight that everyone still has the opportunity to make voluntary contributions to the Elderly and Disabled Tax Fund, which will help defray real estate taxes for qualified residents. There are directions on the website about how you can make those contributions, but it essentially involves mailing a check to Town Hall payable to the town of Bolton with a note for EDTF in the memo section. So all donations are appreciated and will help out our seniors and disabled population. Parks and Rec holiday tree lighting is scheduled for Sunday, November 30th from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Common. If you follow them on Facebook, you know that they are looking for volunteers to help set up. So if you have the time and inclination, please sign up.
I think Eric is back, Kate, by the way.
Okay, great. Let me just finish this last one and then I'll be done with public service announcements. The last one is a thanks to all who donated to the Select Board's food drive for the benefit of Council on Aging and Neshoba Regional High School Health Office. We had some really epic donations that have managed to fully and completely stock the Council on Aging food pantry. If you're on Facebook, you may have seen a picture of exactly how well stocked it is. And donations to the high school will be delivered within the next week. So thanks to all who donated to that.
And Kate, can I add one thing there? I'd like to thank Chris and Leslie Demers for standing out on the town common on a cold Wednesday afternoon, helping me collect that food. So
and at the transfer station for several hours on Saturday with me as well. So
good.
Yes, thank you to them indeed. So, all right, Eric, are you back?
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
That's
Just driving
all right.
through these roads. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I don't know where I cut out, but like, I forget what we were talking about now. What did I cut on?
I think it was just a question about whether your intent is to meet on a monthly basis.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So I don't know what you heard. So definitely we always meet on a monthly basis. Sometimes around the holidays that changes or whatever. But like, even when we didn't have official meetings, we always met like sub quorum because we always have like a lot of ongoing projects. Like with Destination Bolton, we're always posting for businesses. We're always talking to businesses, trying to see if they want us to share anything, etc. So we always have a lot going on. So even if we have to meet sub quorum, we just can't vote on it. And there's no, it's not a public meeting.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board?
I think my only comment, I already said that I'm supportive of adding Mr. Levin to EDC, but Eric, I would just say if the EDC can please make its best efforts to make quorum when there are things that, for example, maybe the town planner might need EDC to act on. Like, it is really important that a committee make quorum to do official business. So that would just be my request, that you guys really work hard on doing that on a monthly basis.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, I actually agree with Brian. I think that Mr. Levin would be a great addition. But I would echo the importance of regular meetings with quorum, especially because EDC does play a relatively significant role in implementing the master plan as well. So, that being said, I mean, I think there's generally support for increasing the size of the EDC. And I would also comment, Eric, that if you think that there are members who are not interested or who are not really able to attend, they could resign. And that would change the quorum rules, and we could address that through interim appointments or, other appointments on a regular schedule.
Yeah, we got a solid crew right now, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so is there a motion to increase the membership of the EDC from 7 to 8 members?
So moved.
Second,
Right, roll call. Brian,
yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Marie, procedurally, we can't do an appointment tonight, can we? Okay. All right, but I imagine we will see you back soon.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
All right, so we need to go back to one of our agenda items. We need to do an amended motion on Bolton Access TV because there was a typo in the agenda. Because we are dealing with Q2, Q3 for both of the requests. So I would entertain a motion to amend our prior vote to request the release of Q3 franchise fee in the amount of $20,531.52 and the Q3 capital quarterly payment of $2,889.
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call. Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. We good, Jenny? All right, on to future agenda items. Anyone?
I have one, which is, I think we've all received some correspondence from residents of the Century Mill Estates, and I think it would be good if we could have an agenda item for a discussion with them at one of our December meetings, if possible.
I think that makes sense.
And as Kate mentioned, I think having a longer discussion or agenda item on the Houghton building at least would be appropriate sooner rather than later.
I'd like to maybe do both Houghton and Town Hall. And just given the amounts involved, it makes sense to have, I think, a global conversation on that. Okay, select board reports. Anyone? All right, well, I will give a brief report on the police chief search committee, which is that we had our first meeting yesterday. And we've set some scheduling for to move the committee along with the hopes of posting the position in December, leaving it open for several weeks, reviewing initial review of applications in January with a goal of doing interviews and screenings at the end of January to be able to make recommendations to the select board toward the beginning of February. So that is moving along.
Could I ask a quick question about that?
Sure.
Did you have a chance to talk about any process for getting input from the current police force, or is that'll be discussed at a future meeting?
I think that'll be at a future meeting. Yeah, last night was more just kind of setting a schedule and trying to figure out how to condense everything into the timeline that the select board had been looking for.
Great, thank you.
And thanks to Matt Bosselet for chairing it. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a vote to appoint new members to open seats on the Cultural Council for terms expiring June 30th, 2025. Marie, do you want to let us know what's going on with this?
On this, I would turn to Jenny on the
Okey-doke.
cultural.
I don't have a lot of information other than I received the email from Maggie saying that they identified 3 new members. They're very interested in getting new membership in because the way the committee works is they're required to fall off after 3 years for a year. So it's really important to keep the membership up. So at the time that a group of them have to take their gap year, they have people who have some experience on the committee.
Okay, great. All right. Is there a motion to appoint Craig Stivers, Maureen Grudas, and Jen Durrett to the Cultural Council?
So moved.
I second that.
All right, roll call. Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. So thank you to all 3 of them for stepping up and volunteering. All right, next up is a vote to change the transfer station hours on December 24th and December 31st, 2025 from 8 a.m. until noon. Both of those are Wednesdays. The ordinary hours on Wednesdays would be from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. So the request is to modify those hours from 8 a.m. until noon. Any comments or discussion? Does
No.
anybody want to, is there a motion to change the transfer hour stations on December 24th and 31st from 8 a.m. to noon?
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call. Brian,
Yep.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. The next item is a discussion of board liaison positions to town boards, committees, and departments. This is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and I just want to have an initial discussion to see what you guys think in terms of liaisons. Some of our surrounding towns, well, a lot of our surrounding towns do liaisons. The idea of which really is just to increase avenues of communication between the select board and other sorts of town boards and committees. Different towns approach it differently. Some towns only appoint liaisons to committees that the select board appoints. Some do liaisons to elected committees as well. Some also do it to departments like police and DPW. And I thought I would try to gauge the interest of the board, whether you think liaisons would be helpful or useful, and if so, for which boards and or departments. Some of the issues with doing liaisons is that the liaison has to be careful not to express personal opinions or to try and push policy. It's really just to be a conduit of information, both to collect information and report back to the select board as to what's going on with other boards, and also to be able to provide some degree of advice on committees that might be struggling a bit, but it's definitely not to direct the actions of any committees. My personal goal in doing it is I think that it would be helpful for fostering relationships between the select board and individual members of other boards. So that's kind of my interest level. Not that Marie does not do a fabulous job of updating us and keeping us informed, but I think more personal connections by the select board really only helps with communication. So I'd just like to hear what you guys think and what direction you might be inclined to go in.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Kate, that it would foster better communication. I think that limiting it to possibly committees where the select board appoints the members would be a good first step. I think having it also be a liaison to departments could get a little confusing for communication. So, but I think having it for the committees, some of the committees where we appoint the committee members makes a lot of sense.
I'm not sure how I feel about this because I was thinking about my experience with liaisons was when we were on the advisory committee, and there's a very specific purpose around liaising with committees around budgetary issues. I think the role of a select board member is a little bit different. So well, first of all, I should say I completely agree with the idea that having good relations and communications, especially across board members on different boards, is great. My actual concern is that then if we just appoint a liaison, it could send this signal that the other select board members shouldn't be reaching out to the people on that committee because they're not the liaison. And I actually feel like it might be a good thing if people have a question. We should always say, I'm just one member of the board. I'm not speaking on behalf of the board, but I'd like to understand this. So I don't know. I see pros and cons. So we don't have to decide anything tonight, do we?
No, this is just discussion because I wanted to get feedback. So what I'd like to do is I'm probably going to pull some different liaison policies from other towns. Some of them are basically a paragraph. Some of them are a page or two that talk about the role and the goals of having a liaison, and maybe have a further discussion in a meeting or two as to whether that's workable. And Brian, I think what your point is a good one, but pretty much all of the policies state right up front, this is not to be a substitute for other forms of communication. Everybody should feel free to contact the select board, for discussion. But so, all right. So I will pull some stuff together for the next meeting to discuss further. All right. Moving towards the end, review proposed capital request for an electronic signboard. Is this going to be Marie or Jenny?
Could be either. I do want to say that Jenny has done all of the work on this, and as well as advancing it is a great idea. But as stated before, we're interested in increasing communication. I just want to give the lead up of Jenny has assiduously contacted multiple vendors, has gone on site visits, and has presented information to the board this evening. Again, this isn't a vote to, oh, we're going to do this. It is to just check in and be sure this is something that the select board supports so that we don't look silly when we're going for capital. So, hoping that you are appreciative of all of the work that's been done. The estimate that was received today has lowered the cost, or if I'm just averaging the three quotes. And with that, I also turn it to my colleague Jenny.
I think you've covered it pretty well. But yeah, the idea is just a response to the most frequent comment that we hear from the public, which is we should improve our methods of communication. And we've done that, and we've been doing that. But the people that are not affected by the changes that we've made to our Facebook outputs and our website are the people that are a little bit old school, and they're driving down 117. They're used to looking at the Houghton signboard, and it's block letters. And I think this is a way we can really improve their experience, get more messaging out there, change the messaging more frequently. We can even add messages at 3 o'clock to 3:30 to say school's out, be careful, be on the lookout for buses. It's really dynamic. We can use it for emergency responses, for weather events, for closures, for Council on Aging events that are happening at the Common during the period of time that they're happening. So it's kind of exciting, and I think it would really improve the experience of our residents.
I know that this isn't a vote or anything tonight because it's going to go through the whole capital process, but Jenny, I thought it may be helpful to share your screen with a couple of the images to give people a sense of exactly what it is that we're talking about, because I think some of those images actually bring to life some of the communication advantages that a signboard like this would have over the existing one.
The
Yeah.
municipal signs I thought were really, really good.
Give me just a moment.
Yeah, they looked a lot better than I was expecting. They look really professional.
Oops, wrong document. So the municipal projects, yep, I'll share that. And on the site visit that I did, I don't know if anyone drove by the Houghton building at the time that the van was parked there. They had a electronic signboard that raised up out of the vehicle, and he had prepared a few slides based on our website and on our Facebook posts. So it was relevant to Bolton. There was actually a picture of Marie's face in lights at the Houghton building for a small period of time, but it looked really good. It definitely would catch the eye of drivers. And for one other thing that I want to say is for any concerns for light pollution at night sky concerns, we can quiet the sign after hours. We have a lot of flexibility on what we want to do with the sign. Are you seeing the screen?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I like the flexibility of all the different, how each of the different towns has done something different in terms of, how it fits in with their location.
Thanks for doing all this work, Jenny.
My pleasure.
So I think it's positive feedback all around.
And I think, like, at the end of the day, this is the type of request that would end up as a potential warrant article at town meeting, so the town residents also get a chance to say whether they think it's a good investment or not.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay. So the next agenda item is bills and payroll, but we're going to modify what's on the agenda. Is there a motion to approve bills and payroll warrant W26-10?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, all in favor, Brian,
yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. 11 will not be ready until next week. And the last agenda item is to review minutes. I think we have 2 sets of minutes that are currently ready. The first of which is October 2nd, which Brian and I attended. And I don't think there are any changes to that one, right, Jenny?
That's correct.
Okay, Brian, do you need to look at them?
I looked at them before. I think I'm all set.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve the minutes of October 2nd?
So moved.
And I will second that. All in favor, Brian,
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
I think you abstain.
Yeah, I abstain.
All right, and I am also a yes. The other minutes that we have ready are from October 16th, which was the first meeting that all of us had together, and there are some revisions. Okay, is everybody set with those?
Yes. Motion to approve the minutes of October 16th.
I second that.
Okay, roll call. Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. Whew, we made it.
Nice work, Kate.
Thank you.
And thanks, Marie and Jenny.
Thank you.
We need a motion to adjourn.
We do.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Okay, roll call. Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. All right, good night, everybody.
Good
The time-
night.
Right.
The time for the record is 8:42. Good night.
Good night.